Welcome to the What If podcast. We're sharing an ever-growing collection of stories from the Belmont entrepreneur community to inspire you to start and keep going. I'm your host, Elizabeth Gortmaker. Here we go. Hey, Hannah.
Hi, Elizabeth.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
It's so great to talk with you always.
Thank you for being on our podcast today. I'm very excited to have you share your story.
I'm honored to be on. This is so great, such a great resource.
So you are actually our youngest guest this season. You are the only current student, but I know we're about to lose you because you're graduating very soon. But yeah, you are a senior entrepreneurship major here at Belmont, and I'd love to have you introduce your business for us.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me again. Hey, everyone. I'm Hannah Ashton. Like Elizabeth said, I'm a senior entrepreneurship major. I've been at Belmont all 4 years, and I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. So I love being able to stay in Tennessee, and I love Nashville as well. And my business is a personal brand under my name, Hannah Ashton, that I started back in middle school with social media and YouTube. And now I'm also running a product-based business, currently known as Dream Achieve, but it's about to have a little bit of a rebrand to Dream Daily, which I'm excited about. So we're kind of in that transition, but Dream Achieve sells stationery products for driven young women. So I love creating planners and journals that help students and other young women feel their best and be their best selves.
Awesome. Let's talk about just the origin of this. You know, you were one of those students who came to Belmont having already launched a business, already launched something. And I know Dream Achieve has come later. That kind of came out of your time here at Belmont. But even before you came, going back to middle school, when did you start to feel that entrepreneurial bug? When did you start to see yourself as an entrepreneur?
I think it can go back to even when I was younger and I was the kid that always was doing the lemonade stands. I was making bracelets and selling them at school. And even though my dad is an entrepreneur and I come from a very entrepreneurial family, I didn't realize that was what I loved. That was what I was doing through these little side hustles I would have throughout school. But I really attribute a lot of me finding my passion of entrepreneurship to YouTube and to an online community, because in middle school and high school, I was able to kind of build this online following of girls who had similar interests as me. I was kind of like doing lifestyle, sharing my life through high school, my interests, and it was cool to just build that community. And I was introduced to the world of female entrepreneurship and all these amazing women who were sharing their stories online. And it kind of gave me the idea that, oh, I can do that as well. And I thought to myself, why not start right now? Why wait till college, or why wait till after I graduate college? And so the first business that I kind of started in high school was doing coaching for younger women who wanted to start YouTube channels. Since I had my YouTube channel for many years by then, had grown a following. And so I started doing some courses and coaching to help girls who wanted to start a YouTube channel. And then that kind of morphed into doing a few in-person events for bloggers and influencers. And then I did that event right before August of 2018, right before I started Belmont. And I knew when I saw that Belmont offered an entrepreneurship major that that was what I wanted to pursue.
Yeah, your YouTube is so impressive to me. I know you've got 200,000 followers, and I see many of your videos have millions and millions of views. How much time per week are you still spending on the YouTube side of things? And are you still doing that coaching?
Yeah, thank you. I'm no longer doing the coaching. I actually stopped doing that right as I went into college, because I was kind of worried about time management and like, can I still give clients, everything that they need while figuring out freshman year? And so I decided to put that on hold. But currently, I would say I spend maybe 6 to 10 hours a week on YouTube. Since I've been doing it for so long, I kind of have my routine. I know how to edit quickly. I know what I need to film each week. And so it definitely isn't as time consuming as it is when you're first starting. And I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, I would say 6 to 10 hours a week on YouTube. And that also means working with brands through Instagram and TikTok as well. editing, filming. I do that all myself as well. So yeah.
Did you learn all of that yourself? Did you just teach yourself by getting your hands dirty and trying it?
Pretty much, yeah. I just discovered iMovie when I was younger. I had like a little pink laptop and just decided to start filming myself. I've always loved talking to the camera and sharing my interests and helping other girls in any way that I can with my experiences, and just continue to press upload, even though it's very scary. And that's not to say that I still don't get nervous now doing live streams or, public speaking, but you kind of just have to overcome those fears and keep being consistent with social media and keep pressing post and upload. And you never know when something's going to take off.
I love that, because I know so many times what stops people is, I don't know how. I have this great idea. I want to start this YouTube channel, for example, but I don't really know how to edit videos, so I just can't do it. Or I need someone else to come along and do that for me. Sometimes that model is very fitting, but I also love the spirit that you have of, I'm just going to go do it and try it and figure it out. I'm sure there's so much ownership that you get from that. It truly is you. Your brand truly is you and what you've created. And I'm sure a lot of joy comes from that as well, of seeing, the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So walk me through Dream Achieve or Dream Daily. What was the genesis of that idea? When did that come about? And, how did you get that started?
So towards the end of high school is when my YouTube channel really took off in like the productivity, time management niche. And so I was showing how I was managing doing sports and choir and musicals and still getting good grades and doing all the things. And so people were wanting to watch my videos, my morning routines, kind of seeing how I was able to balance that in high school. And so going into college, I wanted to create similar content. And throughout my first few months of freshman year, I noticed that the girls in my class all still used a physical paper planner. When the professor said, okay, this is our homework assignment this week, I would watch girls like me bring out these paper planners. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one still liking to write a to-do list every day down on paper. But when I started shopping around for a college student planner, I found that all the brands out there, there was no specific planner brand for students. And if they did have a student planner, they only saw us as students. And being amongst peers and seeing all the amazing things Belmont students are doing, we're doing a lot more than just school, whether it's, running their music, managing other bands, clubs, sports, whatever it may be. At the time, I was managing my YouTube business and social media. And so I wanted a place, just one book where I could kind of plan out my life, plan out my goals, plan my routines, and also be able to have a to-do list every day and time block, which is kind of the method I use to plan my days. And I just couldn't find that. And so I wanted to validate this idea if I did create a product. So I went to a lot of friends, fellow students, people I didn't know. I went to a lot of seniors in the entrepreneurship major at the time and just got coffee with them and kind of explained my idea, asked if this is something they think is missing, and continue down that path. And then originally the idea for the Dream Achieve workbook, which is the end product that I came up with, was just going to be a product for my audience. It was kind of like, how YouTubers have merch, they have sweatshirts. I wanted a product that my audience could use and would help benefit their lives. And so it started with just the Dream Achieve workbook, which is a 6-month undated goal-setting planner in one. And it allows the user to, like I said, kind of manage their whole life, manage everything, be their most productive self, but also have pages in there like a self-care routine to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves and not burning out. And so I launched with that first product right after the end of my freshman year. It kind of took all of my freshman year to create, to sample, to plan, and then launched that in June of 2019, and then have continued with the brand and added on over the past 4 years.
Okay, I love the customer discovery process that you touched on there, where you had this idea, you saw this gap in the market, this product wasn't out there, but then you really spent some time having conversations with your potential customers. Was there anything that stood out to you in that process, or did those conversations change where you thought you were headed, or talk us through that customer discovery a little bit.
Yeah, I remember in one instance, so I designed all these pages by hand, and then I learned how to use InDesign. So kind of going back with how to edit my videos, I just started researching how to design a publication or a magazine, and people recommended InDesign, which is an Adobe product. So I kind of taught myself that. And so I would come up with these mock sketches on there and print them out with like my dorm room printer and give them to my roommates and be like, okay, just use these pages as a planner for a week, and come back to me, like write down notes, use sticky notes, and come back to me with your thoughts. And so having them actually use the pages was super helpful because they came back to me and was like, I really wish this was over here more. Can you add a section for what you're grateful for at the bottom of each day? Like, I need this moved a little because I wanted to write it here instead. And so I think having that really basic product of just literally printer paper printed out and stapled together and giving it to friends and roommates and whatnot really helped the customer discovery process because they were able to visualize it and it wasn't just me explaining an idea.
Wow. I love that. Your aesthetic is so beautiful. It's like you've got this really, really great product that's so useful, but it's also like beautifully designed, and your website is amazing. I didn't know you actually really designed and drew it all out yourself. I was going to ask, tell us a bit about your team, because you've got this amazing design, you've got this amazing marketing and branding and the manufacturing. So all of that, like, do you have a team working with you or helping you through determining the best manufacturing route or pricing or marketing, or have you truly just kind of figured that out as you've developed this?
Yeah, I've really figured it out as I go and just taken it step by step. Obviously, I've had mentors come in. Like I said, I talked to a lot of seniors in the entrepreneurship major my first few semesters at Belmont and got their input. I remember one of them, we had coffee at Proper Bagel, and she gave me the business model canvas, and she was like, "You're going to learn this in a few years in your classes, but I wanted to give it to you now." And so that was really helpful to kind of get a head start, even when I wasn't taking entrepreneurship classes yet. But thank you for talking about the design as well, because that was another aspect that I didn't see in student planners. They were all super colorful and bright with like flowers, and that just wasn't my aesthetic and wasn't what I knew so many girls like me kind of wanted in a look of a planner. And I wanted it to look sleek and chic and professional because starting a business so young, I was used to meeting with people who were older than me and trying to really like act older than my age in these professional meetings. And so I knew that students, when we go in for interviews and we go in for internships, we want to kind of seem very professional. And I wanted a book that we could carry around and it doesn't look like a middle school planner. So that was also all added into the design.
Yeah. So you've got your book for college students, but you also have expanded your product line. Walk us through your additional products.
So around last winter, winter of 2021, I got some requests for making a non-student version, and it's pretty much the complete same. I would say 95% of it is the same, except for a few pages that the student one focuses in on. And the day-driven workbook, which is the post-grad version, focuses more on like financial goals and career planning and things like that. And so I decided in May of 2021 to launch both of those. The student one stayed in the black cover with the gold foiling, and then the day driven I did in a light blue cover with gold foiling. And then I kind of knew I wanted to do a product that wasn't a planner as well. And so over the summer of 2021, I started brainstorming what another product could be that I could add to my lineup that made sense, but also added a lot of benefit. And a habit that I had gotten into recently and I really saw starting to trend online was the habit of daily journaling and how beneficial it is for mental health. And since my brand is a lot about not burning out, like being productive, getting what we need to done, but also taking care of ourselves, I thought this would be a perfect complement to the planners. And so in January of this year, 2022, I launched the Dreamer Journal, which it matches the beautiful aesthetic of the planners. And it's a blank lined journal, but there are a few pages at the beginning that kind of help, especially students, maybe young women who haven't started journaling before. They're new to it, they're intimidated by it. It kind of helps guide them through the process with some prompts that they can use, with a little habit tracker for 30 days of journaling and a how to use guide. So that was the last product that I launched, and I'm excited to continue doing different colors of that product and expanding even more.
All right, so you've been at this a couple of years. What is your reach? How are you just selling in the Tennessee area? Tell us about your customers.
So, since it's an e commerce business and an online business, it's been amazing that I've been able to have a global reach. So, I've been able to sell hundreds of books in all 50 countries or all 50 states, and then in about 49 countries as well. And so, it's been cool when I'm able to get an order come into Japan or Canada or France or even countries that I didn't even really know were out there. And to realize that with the business I started in my freshman year dorm room, I can have this reach to a global audience and help women who aren't even in the same culture and country as me. And so that's been super amazing. And I'm excited to expand even more as I am able to focus on it post grad and run this business full time. I can't wait to see kind of what else comes of it.
How are you utilizing social media?
Social media has been a huge part of my business kind of since I started on social media with YouTube and all of that. So I have found short form content to be really helpful from a business perspective because, in marketing in general, you only have like a second to catch someone's attention. And so, like, Instagram Reels and TikTok have been super beneficial. I create content about behind the scenes of running a business as a student. I create content about the benefits of my products. I kind of, with TikTok, you got to do what's trending with the sounds. And so I'll take a trending sound that may be not related to business at all, but I'll kind of put it into a business perspective or show how it can highlight a product. And I find that that's a super great way to find a wider reach. And then once they follow you, I really try to foster that community and let my followers know that they are a huge say in my business. And so if they find me on TikTok, I try to foster the community. Then on Instagram, move them over there where I can be a little bit more personal, DM them, respond to all my DMs. And I also love getting their feedback. So I'm looking at maybe launching the journal in a third color. And so I'll do Instagram polls and ask their opinion. And I'll ask them to take a survey all the time. I get their feedback through social media. And so I think that's super beneficial that they can see that their opinion really matters. And especially because it's a team of one, I don't want to get stuck in doing just what I think is right because that eliminates, so many other opinions and ideas. And so I really try to use my customers as that feedback team.
Yeah, you've got to engage the customers as you grow. And yeah, exactly. What's really interesting with you and with your model is it's this very interesting dichotomy to me of social media and the tech user and young college students today. We're just addicted to our cell phones and social media and TikTok and YouTube and all these things, and yet your product is a very tangible, handwritten, physical product that customer wants and that it's really resonating with that demographic. I love that you're bringing people back down to slowness and to something that's very tangible and thoughtful. I would just love to hear kind of your thoughts on the mix of those two things and what you're seeing with the current college student. And, because I think you get this reputation that generation, all they care about is TikTok, and, then you lose a sense of groundedness with that. And yet your product is really resonating and growing and expanding and filling a need that you guys are hungry for. So just talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing in the market and what you're seeing with your generation today.
For sure. So I've had a few people tell me oh, you need to turn this into an app. You need to do something like this. And I do have a digital version of the planner just for those who like to plan on their iPads or who live internationally and don't want to pay for the international shipping, just so they have access. But by far the physical book sales have outweighed the digital workbook sales. And I think that's a testament to show that, like you said, we are craving something that's off a screen, especially during 2020 when all my classes were on Zoom and I was sitting at this desk all day, every day. Like the last thing I wanted to do when I was kind of winding down or setting my goals was to pull out another Google document. And so I also find that the aspect of physically writing with a pen is just something that we miss. I don't write any essays by hand anymore, which I am kind of thankful for because no one wants to write a 10-page paper by hand. But I don't want us to also lose that beautiful aspect of writing and getting our thoughts, from our head to our hand to the paper. Especially with the journals, I've seen a huge response in my customers saying that this is one of the easiest ways that they can take care of themselves in the day. 5 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes at night, no matter how busy their schedules are, they're giving themselves those 5 to 10 minutes to think about their dreams, to visualize what their ideal life is going to look like, to just get out their emotions from the day. And it's their way to kind of disconnect from the world and focus in. And I try to really be intentional that with creating the journal as well, because that's why I included about 20 prompts at the beginning of the journal, because on days that I don't know what to write about, I didn't want to kind of escape that physical moment and go to my phone and look at Pinterest quote or Pinterest prompts. And so I wanted it all to be in the book so that we didn't have to turn to a screen to kind of get that inspiration.
Yeah. So one of the biggest complaints that I hear almost every day from a college student is just that there's simply not enough hours in the day. And I feel that too every day,
Yeah.
and for you guys as college students, you're working, you have a job, you have an internship, you have a full course load, you are in a student organization or Greek life, you have hobbies and friends, and you're also just trying to enjoy your time as a college student. So time management is so crucial, and it's one of the hardest things to really wrestle with, I think, as a college student. But here you are. You are an expert at this. That's your whole deal. So let's just take a few minutes, talk specifically to any of our college students who are listening today and walk us through some time management skills and some just practical advice for how to juggle so many different things and how to manage multiple passions and multiple skills while still being able to excel at all of those things that are important to you.
Absolutely. Yes. The golden question is always how to balance it all. And I always say, I can't balance everything well all at once. I can only focus on maybe 3 to 5 priorities for a season of life. And then I go all in on those priorities. I say, this is what I'm focusing on. And then maybe next season, next semester, I switch them around to make sure I'm hitting everything that I want to in a year. So some tactical tips, just the first thing that I do every day, and this is the formula that's in the Dream Achieve workbooks, and it is I have my to-do list for each day and I time block. So time blocking is where you write out each hour of the day that you're going to be working, and you write out what you're going to be doing during that time. And I left these sections actually blank in the workbook. So if you want to time block every 3 hours, if you want to time block every 30 minutes, you can do what you need to do. And this has 2 benefits. One is obvious. It allows you to stay on track. If you're going from class and right after class, you got to get that homework assignment in, and then you got to make time for lunch, and then you got to, get your workout in. And it allows you to stay on track and not just, be like, oh, what do I need to do today? I don't know. So I'm not going to do anything, or I'm too overwhelmed by everything to even start. But then the second benefit is that it can actually show you that maybe you are attempting to do too much in a day than there are hours in the day. And I think as students, especially if you're someone who wants to please other people and you want to be your best self and you want to be the best student and you want to be the best friend and the best coworker, sometimes we overcommit ourselves, and that's just the truth of it. And so I highly recommend doing a time log and literally just take a few days and write down how many hours you're spending doing each thing in your day. Also include sleep, also include time for eating, time for getting ready, all of that. But you may notice that I'm giving all my time or a lot of my time to maybe another person who isn't a priority, or to a task that isn't a priority. And so once you kind of can see where where your hours are going, it's really eye-opening. And then you look at your list of priorities and you're saying, do these align? Where I'm spending my time and my priorities, are these aligning? And if they're not, then you got to maybe take some things away, say no every now and then, even though I know it's hard and you feel like you're letting other people down, but you really just have to focus on what you know is a priority for you. And so, for example, there's my freshman year, I knew I wanted to start this business. And so that was a priority. And so some things that I had to say no to was that social time. And, that's just the realness of being a student entrepreneur is I couldn't have that same freshman experience as maybe someone who wasn't starting a business. And that's totally fine, whichever way you want to go. But there are going to be things you maybe have to give up if you are pursuing something that's a priority that maybe is a little bit different, like starting a business. Now, as a senior, now that I've had the business running and it's not that initial push, I'm able to now bring in more of that social life aspect. And I'm thankful for that. So now a priority, especially as a senior and my friends are moving away, is spending time with friends and going out and having fun. But that was something that I maybe did have to give up freshman year because it just wasn't a top priority. So yeah, does that kind of make sense as with an example?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
So you've got the inside scoop as a Belmont student right now, as an entrepreneurship major. Give us a little bit of your experience. What has it been like to be here at Belmont, starting a business? How has Belmont supported you, or how have your classes or any of that helped you along the way?
I love being an entrepreneurship major. I'll be honest though, the first 2 years at Belmont when I wasn't in those entrepreneurial classes, but I was still starting my business, I was like, okay, school is taking up a lot of time that I could use to grow this business. Should I take a semester off? Like, what should I do? But I'm really, really thankful that I stuck with it, because once I got to meet those professors that had businesses in the past that could be mentors, when I started, doing the accelerator program, the second half of my sophomore year, when I entered the pitch competition, like when I started really digging into the Entrepreneurship Center and taking advantage of all the opportunities, that's when I really saw the community just like pour into me and be so beneficial. I love that I've been able to use my business throughout my classes. That is such a privilege, because it's like I would have had to go through all these things anyway. And the fact that I'm going through them in a safe environment with a professor who wants to help me has been so beneficial, because any questions that I have, I can just ask them after class, or it'll be answered in a class I have next semester. And so I just can't say enough good things about the classes and the professors and the fellow students. I get so inspired going to class when I have an entrepreneurship class, because I get to hear their ideas. I get to give my feedback. They give me their feedback for my business. And it's seriously just the coolest experience to be able to see someone like you have that same hustle, that same drive, that same motivation as you, be in your classes and be able to work with you on collaborating and coming up with new ideas. And so if you're thinking of majoring in entrepreneurship, I highly recommend. I know it's not for everyone, but I think it gives an amazing overall summary of all things business, learning everything from marketing, finance, accounting, how to manage a team, how to hire, how to fire, how to do financial projections. Like, you're going to get a great summary of just business skills that you can use in any job. And if you know you want to start a business, but you don't have one yet, that's totally okay. I'm sure you'll kind of be able to foster that idea as you go through this major.
One of the most inspiring things about my job is just the culture at Belmont and the student body. I think the Belmont students are the most creative students ever of all. I might be biased, but I truly think Belmont students have the biggest hearts. And they're so creative. There's so many amazing ideas. But I know one of the biggest challenges is actually taking that idea and doing something with it while you're so busy with college and all the different things that come along with that. As someone who's done that and has done exceptionally well at that, what advice do you have for other young entrepreneurs who have an idea of something they want to do, and they just don't know maybe what the next best step is?
Hmm. You really just have to start with the one thing that you do know. And I promise the path will reveal itself as you go. I'm still figuring out everything one step at a time. For example, when I first had that idea for the Dream Achieve workbook, I had never had a product business. I never created a product. But I knew that to have a physical product, you had to have a manufacturer. And so that was literally the first step that I had. The morning after I had this idea, I just started Googling like Nashville based manufacturers, international manufacturers. And I remember I set up a meeting with like a Nashville printing company for the next week. And I was like telling my roommate, I was like, I can't believe I had this idea yesterday and I already have a meeting set up. And that meeting didn't end up leading anywhere. They weren't exactly what I was looking for, but I at least took that first step and took action upon it, because I'm sure there's many people out there who have an idea and they just think about it for months or for years and never take that first action step. And so it's really a matter of figuring out, what do I know that I need to figure out? Let me go to Google and start researching this. Let me do something of action, whether that's setting up a meeting, whether that's sending an inquiry, sketching out the first designs. Take some sort of action step, and I promise it'll kind of spark that motivation to continue down the path. Also, you just have to put in the time. Going back to that priority list and fitting in hours in my day was so busy with school and with YouTube and all the things, classes throughout the day, that I knew that to work on this business freshman year, I would have to add in an hour to my morning. So I don't do this now, but freshman year, most days of the week, I woke up at 6 a.m. and from 6 to 7, before my roommates were awake, I would just spend an hour a day working on that business. And so maybe one of the days was I spent an hour doing the designs. 1 hour was talking with the manufacturer. 1 hour was figuring out Shopify and how my website was going to work. But I literally just promised myself, okay, an hour a day I'm going to dedicate to this dream of mine, so that, by the end of freshman year, however long it's going to take, all those hours will add up and I'll have a finished product.
Wow, that is awesome. Hannah, where are we going to see you in 5 years?
Oh my goodness. It is hard to imagine 5 years out, because I feel like my game plan can change so quickly. I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I need to get better at setting more like long-term goals and visions. But I know that whether I still have my product business, whether I'm still doing YouTube, I just know at the core that I want to be helping young women discover their passions and realize that they can, as cheesy as it sounds, achieve their dreams. Because since I started so young, I am so grateful that I had people in front of me at Belmont and my family telling me that I can do these things at a young age. And I want to kind of be that voice to younger girls who maybe don't have those supporting people in their lives, telling them, yeah, you can start a business in high school, you can start a business in college, or do whatever else you want, even if it's not business. And so at my core, I hope that I'm still doing that and able to give them that big sister advice. But hopefully my business, which is going to be transitioning to Dream Daily as I graduate, will be continuing to thrive. I'll have new products. I would love to even have a storefront one day, or just work with other retailers and boutiques that kind of align with my vision. And I love sharing my journey on YouTube as well. So if you're someone who wants to see the behind the scenes of running my business, there will be a lot of content like that post grad, showing the nitty gritty of designing, of marketing, of shipping and fulfillment, and hopefully having an office space one day. So you can always tag along and come see my journey on there. And that's just Hannah Ashton on YouTube.
Where can we find your products today?
Yes. So my current website is shophannaashton.com. And you can also follow the social media for the accounts for the business. It's at Dream Achieve Workbook on Instagram and TikTok.
All right, we're going to take a pause for our shout out of the week. This week, our shout out goes to Meredith Mazie. She studied music here at Belmont, graduated in 2010, and in 2015 started ABEDNEGO Boutique in the heart of downtown Nashville. ABEDNEGO Boutique is a beautiful boutique selling women's wear, home good products. She actually doubled the size of her store space in the middle of COVID. So it's a beautiful space. I know they actually sell the Dream Achieve workbooks as well.
Yes.
So check out abednegoboutique.com. Big shout out to Meredith Mazie. Okay, Hannah, we've got some rapid fire questions before I let you go.
Perfect.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. What is your go-to gift for a friend? A dream achievement.
Yeah, literally my product. No, I try not to gift them my products. I don't want to see that over and over again. I love giving like framed pictures. If I have a picture with them, getting a beautiful frame and something that they can have like on their desk or in their room.
Sweet. Do you prefer snail mail or text messages?
I actually probably would prefer text messages just because, so much is happening in the day. We don't have time for the letters, but, stationery is my thing as well. But I think text is definitely more beneficial.
What is your favorite lifestyle brand?
Ooh, I love this other small business. I've been following her for years. It's called 11th Hour, and she makes gorgeous sunglasses and blue light glasses. And she's a one-woman team as well. It's just her right now, but she's being sold in Anthropology, and she's just been a huge inspiration to me. So I love following fellow small female-owned businesses.
What's your go-to brunch spot?
Ooh, honestly. Okay, I don't go out to brunch as much as I should, but I would probably just say Frothy Monkey because I love their coffee and their food is delicious as well.
It's so good. Do you like avocado toast?
Yes, I make it almost every morning.
That is a joke because I know you love to share your avocado toast.
Me on the Where the Well Things Are Instagram stories, sharing it even on there. Yep,
I know. Everyone's a fan. All right, what is an impulse purchase that you cannot live without? These are tough questions.
These are tough. These are hard for rapid fire. I thought about it for a while, so I don't know if it was super impulsive, but I did purchase the Dyson Airwrap, and it cut my bank account, but it is amazing for the fact that I have to like do my hair before I film and all things like that. So it's been a great investment.
That's awesome. There you go. Well, Hannah, we are so proud of you. Everyone at Belmont, we just love what you're doing. I think you truly are an inspiration to young women and to students and to your fellow classmates. Your maturity and your drive and your passion and your skills, it really is unique. And we cannot wait to see where you go in the future because I know you've got some big things ahead.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I remember meeting you freshman year. I think, was it Meredith Meredith Edwards introduced us, or Hannah, maybe, introduced us at a convo. And they were like, you're going to love Elizabeth. And I knew from that moment on, you'd be such a great part of my Belmont journey. So thank you for everything you've done for me and my business as well.
Oh, thanks, Hannah. Well, early congrats on graduation. And thank you for being here on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for listening. What If is produced by Old Soul. For links and show notes, please visit belmontetp.com/whatif. Until next time, keep asking what if.